taking it all the way back with 415, one thing I was intrigued about because I knew about Don't Do It and 415 kind of around the same time because I'm from Maryland. So we got, at that era, we were getting not things immediately.
Right.
So what did you learn early in your career being in a group versus being a solo artist? What were the lessons you learned that were similar and different?
Well, I made the group. I was solo first, and I got tired of coming to the studio having to do all the work. My executive producer, he had the money, and he wanted to put out a bunch of records. Back then it was 3/16 per song and a hook. Shit, that's 48 bars of just rap, and then you got 8-bar hooks twice. Shit, man, that's a lot of writing, you know. So I had an idea. I was like, damn, I need to find somebody to rap with. And I started interviewing different dudes, and I stumbled up on this D-Loc dude, and he was dope, and that's how the group formed. DJ Durrell wasn't my original producer. I was working with another producer. And then I got introduced to DJ Durrell. He was making some beats for a guy that my executive producer knew, a guy named Tony O. And I got with Durrell, and his shit was dope. So we put this group together, and it took a little bit of the load off of me having to write all these verses.
Hmm.
Um, cool thing about being in a group is if the other guy on the other side of you is dope, then it motivates you because it's competition. See, I'm a very competitive rapper. I don't know if you've listened to any of my features, but people like, man, Rich get on a record and just be the cleanest nigga on the record. Like, but that's my job. Like, we can be homeboys, but once we in that booth, is fuck you. My job is to be the cleanest on the record. Like, it's like in basketball. Uh, two basketball players play on two different teams. They might be homeboys. You see them at the end of the game, chopping it up, smiling. But during the game, my job is to cook you, and that's how I play on that microphone. If I'm on a record, I want to shine. And it's not like I'm doing it intentionally, but it's just a competitor in me. So being in a group sharpened my knife because D-Loc was a phenomenal dude. Like he had bars and he had flow patterns. And so that's like going to the gym by yourself versus going to the gym with somebody else. You go to the gym with one of your homies and he get down there and he hit 225. You're gonna at least try to hit the 225.
Right.
If you go in there by yourself, you might just hit the 185. So being in a group for me was cool. It took a little of the load off, but it also gave me a sparring partner, somebody to spar with. You know what I mean? And then being solo, once I went solo and found out I could carry the weight on my own, you know, I was like, fuck it, I'll do the solo thing. Because the only downfall in a group is different people be in different places in their lives. Now, me and D-Loc didn't have that problem because 415, as long as we lasted, we were, both in the city, both into the same kind of shit. But I see in groups a lot. It's just like marriage. The worst thing a group can do for the fans is split up. And a lot of groups do that, and guys go solo and for whatever reasons, but a lot of times the fans be like, dude, I like you solo, but I fuck with the group. And you see R&B groups break up and change, swap out members, and now they doing it in rap groups. Rap groups break up and they bring another member in. And so for me, group or solo, it don't really matter because I'm gonna go hard either way. But I wouldn't do a group now at this level because it's just easier for me to do me. And like I say, I don't want to, like, I'm not married. I've never been married. I don't think I'll ever be married. I'm not against marriage, but I'm against divorce. And I know how I move. I've been in and out of more relationships than I've just stayed in. So to put a group together that could potentially break up down the line, fuck it, I'll just go dolo and just do me. and feature people when I want to. But being in a group was cool at that juncture in my life. 415 was dope. And like I said, it was easy for me to only have to come to, we got a 10-song album and we got all 3 verse songs. I only need 15 verses now. You know what I mean? Versus me needing 30 verses. You dig?
Right.
And then it gives, like I said, then it gives me a sparring partner, somebody that helps sharpen my blade and keep me sharp. So groups is cool. Um, like EPMD to me, it's like my favorite group of all time. I don't know, the old school groups. And then you got groups like Outkast that were super dope groups. Um, you know, you got the Locks, dope. They stayed together. They never switched up. So groups are dope when you got enough. And when everybody can hold their weight, I think a group is a good thing. It's just when you might have when the group is lopsided, you know, you got 2 guys carrying 1 guy or 1 guy carrying 2 guys or however the ratio is. Uh, but I think if everybody is equally yoked and bringing something to the table, and y'all got a producer or that's making this shit magical, it can go either way for me.